It's the 20th of November 2025, and we have breaking news here at Children's Health Defence. The first headline is from the Wall Street Journal this morning. The CDC changes website to say vaccines may cause autism, revising prior language. Let's go to the CDC site straight away. And here we have autism and vaccines. This is new on the CDC site. The claim vaccines do not cause autism is not an evidence-based claim because studies have not ruled out the possibility that infant vaccines cause autism. Studies supporting a link have been ignored by health authorities. HHS has launched a comprehensive assessment of the causes of autism, including investigations on plausible biologic mechanisms and potential causal links. So first of all, we're going to go straight to Mary Holland, CEO and President of Children's Health Defence, and Brian Hooker, our Chief Scientific Officer. Good morning. And this is amazing news for us who've been at this game for a long time. Mary.
Yes, Polly, this is such welcome news. This is the CDC finally starting to tell the truth about autism. We in the autism community have been saying for decades that vaccines caused regression in our children, leading to a diagnosis of autism. It caused brain injury, leading to the symptoms of autism. And we've been gaslit and ridiculed and mocked and marginalized for decades. And this is a tremendous acknowledgement of the truth. Vaccines, you can't say vaccines don't cause autism. In fact, we believe strongly that vaccines do cause autism. They're the primary cause of the autism epidemic. But that remains to be proven through the whole scientific process that Brian can speak to more. But there is, as the CDC statement says, there is evidence out there, Polly. There are good studies that Brian Hooker and others have done. Dr. Mawson and the recent Henry Ford study. There are several studies that show very conclusively that vaccines are the leading probable factor in causation. But because it violated pharma's narrative and the government's narrative, compelling shots, it was never explored. So this is the beginning of truth telling. It's not the end. It's just the beginning, but we're so grateful. And this is the result of 30 plus years of parents and affected individuals fighting to get the truth out.
Right. Brian, talk us through this scientifically.
Well, scientifically, what the website now shows is that there's a hole in the CDC studies and the official studies of record that you could drive a Mack truck through. That essentially there has been studies on one vaccine and one vaccine component, and that would be the MMR vaccine and thimerosal. And even those studies are flawed and perhaps fraudulent. The website directly addresses the controversy regarding the MMR vaccine. It states that the illustrious Institute of Medicine said that there were methodological flaws, and really all of the studies that were presented to the IOM as proof that vaccines or the MMR vaccine doesn't cause autism. And so, this is such a stunning admission that it has just not been appropriately studied, and by using words like debunked and throwing out good evidence that should have never been thrown out back in the 2001 through 2004 IOM meetings, that they've just basically set us behind for this entire time.
So parents around the world watching this will be celebrating today because for 30 years, as you say, Mary, people have been screaming out, we vaccinated our children with catastrophic results. What should young parents today looking at this news? They may be afraid, seeing that vaccines can and do cause autism, which we all know, but yet they're afraid of the diseases. Brian, maybe you could speak to this.
Well, first of all, the infectious diseases that are quote unquote protected against using the vaccination schedule really were wiped out because of sanitation. And it has been shown over and over again that the mortality that was caused by these diseases really was in steep decline before the vaccines for these diseases were ever introduced. And so to say that, that we're fighting these horrible infectious diseases, well, first of all, they're not horrible. They're medically treatable. They're very, very treatable. And we've seen that over and over again, especially with the measles outbreak in West Texas, where Dr. Ben Edwards went down and successfully treated many, many measles cases. It's just that it is lazy public health in order to vaccinate an entire population rather than treat what many times, if not most times, ends up as a very, very mild infectious disease.
And Mary, what can we expect now? We do know that the other side are going to be fighting back. They're not just going to lay down and let this happen. So what can the people do? I think from my point of view, please keep telling your stories. There's never been more an important time to tell your stories. Contact us at CHDTV for that. But Mary, what do we expect now?
Well, I want us to acknowledge that I don't think this would have happened but for having Secretary of HHS Robert Kennedy in that position. And he knows this. He wrote a book on thimerosal. He's written books on vaccines with Brian Hooker. He understands the depth of the corruption that led to this statement. So I think we need to reach out to our local officials to tell people we support what Kennedy's doing. We support the CDC coming clean. And you can reach out to your congresspeople. Pharma will be lobbying these people up, down, and sideways saying, get rid of Kennedy. This is a lie. And we need to be pushing back and saying, no, this is the truth. And this is the start of a very uncomfortable truth telling that shows that all of the authorities, the government, pharma, the media, have been lying to the public knowingly for over 30 years. It's a very uncomfortable truth, but it is the truth. It's very inconvenient for governments in particular to say, oh, we made a mistake and it ruined your life. They don't like to do that, but that is what's called for here.
And Brian, do you want to add to that scientifically?
Absolutely. I think that there is a day of reckoning here, and that not only do the individuals who were denied justice, they need justice. They need we need assurances that our children are going to be taken care of. They were damaged by the government. This was the government's problem, and the government needs to take care of these kids. Now that these kids are adults, they're aging out. We have a cataclysmic crisis on our hands. So this mess needs to be cleaned up. And then there needs to be a day of reckoning for the individuals that are responsible for this crisis. Clearly, individuals in the CDC, individuals in the HHS covered up this fact that vaccines were causing autism, and they covered up this fact earlier than 1999, as far as we know. And so this dates back. This controversy has been going on for over 26 years now. Many of us, all three of us, paid very, very dearly watching our children regress into autism. And so there needs to be a day of reckoning, and we need to hasten that day of reckoning for these children, so these children can be taken care of.
And Mary, Children's Health Defence will never stop fighting because we have an amazing legal department. Talk us through Children's Health Defence and how people should join us in this fight.
Yeah, we will never give up on these children and these now adults, and we will never give up on the truth. And we need your support to help us do that. I think we're a community. We work on so many different levels. We have local community chapters that you can join, affiliated organizations that we list on our website. But we engage in education, advocacy, litigation, and science. And all of these things are needed. We're bringing new cases to tear down this system. These vaccine mandates are wrong. They violate the core principle of informed consent and informed refusal of medicine. If we can't control what goes into our bodies and our children's, we have no rights. And so we're pushing back. And I think this new development of the CDC shows that we are winning, Polly. The truth is winning out in this area. And that's a remarkable triumph. As you and I said before the show, we weren't sure we'd ever see this happen in our lifetime. We knew we wanted to be on the side of truth, but we weren't sure we would ever win in our lifetimes. And here we are seeing the CDC, the most prestigious medical public health organization in the world, saying out loud, we lied for 30 years. That's remarkable. It's really remarkable.
It is. And finally, to the three of us who are our beautiful boys injured catastrophically by vaccinations, how do you feel personally as parents and on behalf of the parents around the world watching right now who will be feeling the same thing as us? This has been a long time coming for our boys.
Polly, it's so bittersweet. It's like, yes, we're so happy that the truth is being told, but it's also the acknowledgement of the sadness of the tragedy that happened to our kids. They don't have the lives that they would have had. I'm not saying there's not joy and wonder in their current lives, but their lives have paid for this lie. And so it's bittersweet.
Brian?
Absolutely. I look at my son, I look at the things that he, is now expressing that he wanted to accomplish, that he won't be able to accomplish, given, his current situation, his current state. The government did that. We were following directions. We were following rules. We were doing what we were supposed to do for a better society and also to protect our children. And we were lied to. And those lies have consequences. We're bearing out those consequences. And so I do, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think jail time is too good for the individuals responsible for this crisis. I think that they need to be brought to justice.
Well, this is an amazing day for Children's Health Defence and all our supporters and parents around the world. Thank you, Mary Holland, CEO of Children's Health Defence, and our Chief Scientific Officer, Brian Hooker, for being on so early this morning.
Thank you, Polly.
Thank you.